Okay, welcome to SoCal Sports Report's weekly podcast, first podcast of the new year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy. Anybody broken any New Year's resolutions yet?
Trying every day. Trying.
Here with Vince Morales. I'm John Stellman, along with Vince Morales and John Adams. We will run down the menu real quick, give you folks an idea of what we're talking about and the direction we're going in. Rams, of course, we'll lead off with that and recap the season, look at the upcoming playoff schedule this weekend. Also review the Chargers, who ended up with a pretty decent season despite starting 0-4. Do some playoff predictions, see how far we get with that. Recap the college football semifinal playoff games. I'm really thrilled with an SEC final. That doesn't draw my attention too much, but we'll look at that. We'll talk about the ridiculous performance by the Pac-12, who claims to be a Power 5 conference, going 1-8 in the postseason. Not very good for their reputation. Hockey, the Vegas Knights are still hanging in there. The Kings get another ho-hum shutout from the musician, Jonathan Quick. Ducks getting healthy. We'll look at the Lakers. There are some trade rumors floating around out there. The Clippers are on the way with 4 in a row and almost to 500 now. Bruins and Trojans open Pac-12 play. Bruins 2-0, Trojans 1-1. Trojans had Metu, is that how you pronounce his name? Suspended for a half a game for his flagrant 2. Yeah. And we'll just go from there and see what maybe some hot stove league stuff. We'll just play it by ear. Rams, exactly what we thought would happen. Rested everybody.
Yeah.
Got blown away, but everybody's healthy. Atlanta comes in here just scrapping and scraping to even get into the playoffs after going to the Super Bowl last year. The game be on Saturday. Rams look rested, healthy, except for the kicker. What are your? I think they opened 5.5, 6.5.
6.5 now.
6.5.
It's already gone up a point.
Let's get your take on the Rams, Vince.
I think they're in good shape. It's not a bad draw for them to get the Falcons, who were injured up front. They get their Andy Levitre guard, who's injured on the injured reserve, and that's going to be a tall order when you've got Aaron Donald standing over you. Okay. And so, defensively, on paper, it sort of looks like they're evenly matched. You got a 10-6 team, an 11-5 team, but I think Julio Jones is a little banged up. I think this plays out pretty well for the Rams. I think the Rams are in good shape. The Zerline thing scares me. Playoff games tend to be a little closer. They're looking at the spreads. I mean, the first games opened at -8, -5, -8.5, and -6. That's a lot That's a lot of big numbers. And so I think this game's going to be a little closer than that 6.5. But then again, you just never know. The Falcons have been a good win to seal up the playoffs against Carolina. I mean, that was a great win, but they haven't looked as good. And a couple of injuries and dinging them up. So I think it's good news for the Rams. Pharaoh Cooper is a little dinged up, so we may see Tavon Austin on kick returns or Cooper Kupp on punt returns, but he hasn't been ruled out for the game. He's just questionable. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. I think I agree with you, Vince. I was surprised how big the spreads are, actually, because when it gets playoff, guys get a little tighter. You're coming in with a team like the Falcons have been there before, although their numbers compared from last year to this year are completely different.
Exactly.
They were leading in offense last year going in the Super Bowl, and now they're like 12th in offense this year. Freeman is catching the ball out of the backfield a little bit better, which is a little scary. But, it just goes down to the basics of football. And what it is for the Rams to succeed, They shouldn't have any. You can't have bad penalties, right? And you gotta make sure that you're hitting your third down receivers and you're getting first downs, moving the football and playing deep. I mean, it's just basic stuff. And if they do that, I think they can actually go quite a ways. Now, a lot of them are all saying, the Falcons got some experienced guys with what they did, and now the Rams
they've been there.
They've been there, and now you got the Rams that are actually, have turned it all around in one season, from a 4-11 or whatever,
4-12,
4-12 to 12-4 or 11-5, right? Is that what it is, right? So. You can throw the last game out, right? Type of deal. So I'll just call them 11-4, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of when you're looking at the crossing the T's and dotting the I's, there's a lot of positives for the Rams, but it's how they go ahead and proceed to check those boxes, and do those things. Does the kicker kick like their kicker kicks?
Right.
Do they continue to play great on special teams? They got a great punter. Do they, they got a kick returner that was a really good. Now, can these guys fill the void? I think if they do all these checks of these boxes, I think it's going to be a great win for the Rams. But again, if they don't, this is a team, if they find their momentum, that they can beat them. So and again, everybody talks about when you get to the playoffs, you just wipe away all the records, right? And it's 0-0 going into the, and anything can happen. You got a very seasoned veteran quarterback with Ryan. You got a good running back with with Freeman, and you've got a great receiver with Julio Jones, who's again a little banged up. But again, all it takes is a couple big plays and there you are. So
absolutely.
Again, you can say that about every game, pretty much.
If
right?
if you're a Falcons fan, you look at it and you say, "Hey, the Falcons in total yards are 8th overall, then the Rams are 10th."
Right.
In passing yards, Matt Ryan has they're 8th in the overall, and the Rams are 10th.
Right.
It's those points scored. It's that productivity, and will they be able to protect Ryan? I don't think they're going to be able to protect Ryan against this stout Rams front line. This, Wade Phillips 3-4 defense has been stellar.
Plus, Donald's going to have a break now with the guy that should be guarding him. Probably being out.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, Andy Levitre, the offensive guard is gone. He's on the injured reserve, and he will not be there. So he's been out a game. They've had a guy in there. It's going to be tough to keep Ryan upright, and I look for some points on defense that maybe make up for what the Rams might be missing on special teams with some field goals. I think that spread's right. I think when it's all said and done, and you look at the winner the next day, you find out who had the best turnover ratio, right? And that person probably won. You know what I mean? So when the Rams have turned over the ball and when the Rams have had bad penalties, they've lost. So they just got to be disciplined and make sure they're making good decisions. And when they're protecting the ball, and they've got good field position because, of where things on their punt returns and kick returns and where their punter is punting the ball, you're right, good things happen. But a little dodgy, like we said, with Zerline gone and with Farrell Cooper dinged up, a little dodgy, but I think still defensively it's what takes the Rams over the top.
Yeah, the defense is, I think, going to make a big difference.
Yeah. If you keep those guys intact, the Freemans and the Julio Jones and stuff like that. Don't give Ryan a lot of time. That's the whole deal with them. If you don't give Ryan time, it's going to be interception city, and you guys going to it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
But if you give him time, he'll find his guys.
Before we get into the maybe some predictions, you want to just recap the Chargers. The Chargers took care of business. They did what they had to do.
Yeah, no, they held up their end of the bargain. It just wasn't good enough.
So let me ask you a question, and I don't know if this will ever get to the the owners' meetings and stuff like that. And I remember, I heard it yesterday actually on the radio. So Bills are 9-6, Chargers are 9-6. They played each other. Rams beat them up, right? I'm sorry, Chargers beat them.
Yeah.
Do you think in the future the team who beat the other team should go?
Excuse me.
Bless you. Well, there are all sorts of all sorts of tiebreakers and things like that, and so.
But there's going to be times where those teams aren't ever going to play each other, right?
That's right.
I still think head-to-head should carry more weight than record in conference.
Because I'll tell you right now, this is what I believe in the AFC. I believe that every team was thankful that the Chargers didn't get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they wanted to play them. I mean, look, a couple weeks ago, they didn't play very good in Kansas City. No doubt about that. But they came back and again, we've talked about that the AFC is down, right? It's down. Yeah. But they've got a lot of momentum and a lot of, confidence right now. And it goes back to when Belichick was talking about having to play them, going, this team is solid from head to toe. Right. And if they're clicking, you do not want to play them. And I think that's really killing these guys. It's keeping them up at night, is like going, we should be in the playoffs, and we're not.
Exactly.
So, what do they do for the future, right? That's the big thing now, is how do we build, I don't know who the free agents are or what's going on there, but, strengthen your offensive line and continue to strengthen the defense is, maybe getting a backup quarterback, for Rivers. But overall, I think it's going in the right direction. And if what the Rams are doing, it could be a lot of fun that you got two successful teams in Los Angeles, in the NFL, which the NFL loves to hear that, right?
Oh, so sure. Yeah. Second largest market.
Right.
You bet. You guys want to take a look at the first week of the playoffs, or you want to go through all the way to the?
So you want to stay on the NFL?
We can. We can do the playoffs. I do want to mention that before we move on to the playoffs, USC great Carson Palmer announced his retirement.
Yeah.
The probably the best quarterback out of USC as far as having a pro career, longevity.
Exactly.
Had some great numbers.
Like 15 years or something like that, right? He's 11th or 12th overall in passing or something.
He threw for a lot of yards, threw for a lot of touchdowns. Had some great years that were ended with injuries, and just couldn't do it anymore. And
Hall of Famer, not a Hall of Famer?
I think it's going to be close. Yeah. I would say no.
I don't think there was enough playoff wins.
Yeah, I would say no, but he's a quality guy.
Yeah.
Top-notch Trojan, Heisman Trophy winner, and the best USC quarterback to play in the pros.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is Rodney Pete okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Rodney.
Just saying.
You want to start with the NFC wild card?
Sure.
How's that sound? Falcons, Rams?
Oh, who am I going to? Oh, is we going to just pick them? Yeah, I'm going to go with the local team. Yeah, I got to go with the Rams.
And what do you think about against the spread? I agree, straight up the Rams. What about with the spread? Would you take Atlanta plus 6.5?
I think well, here's the deal. I'll wait. I would wait until it got to 7, and then I would take Atlanta probably. I don't know. I just like to see how it goes.
It's interesting because the spread's getting wider, but the over/under's getting lower.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. That spread opened at 5, Rams -5, and the over/under at 50, and it's currently the consensus now is 6.5. Rams -6.5 and 48.5 is the under. Interesting to me. It's interesting.
I could see it going under. Especially, it's just going to get tight. You got to figure each other out in the first half, and then obviously, how you guys make decisions in the second half is where it's going to explode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I'd still take the Rams at 6. I don't like the hook there. I'd prefer not to give the hook there, but I think if at 5, I'd take them. I would. I would take the Rams.
I agree.
But I think straight up that's a win for the Rams. Just based on defense. Defensively,
I think the defense can make the difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Carolina at New Orleans, another wild card.
I just like New Orleans at home. I think they're balanced in all aspects. Carolina, they've just played okay in the last 3 weeks. You know? You haven't showed me they want to be there kind of thing.
Plus, New Orleans swept them during the season, so.
And Sean Payton's great playoff. He's a good prep.
I haven't prepared. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm with that. I think that's New Orleans. I keep trying to talk myself out of it. Is there a way that Carolina? Because I don't think. I think the Rams sort of exposed that if you put a little pressure on Breeze, but is Carolina capable of doing that? I don't think.
I hope they're practicing in a dome right now because it's freezing in Carolina. It's snowing in Carolina right now.
Yeah, I think they're probably undercover at some for sure. Yeah, why practice out there in the snow when you're not going to play in it? So I don't think the Panthers are able to get the kind of pressure on Breeze that needs to happen. And New Orleans is a good offensive team. I think that's all New Orleans.
Yeah, I like New Orleans. AFC wildcard, Bills at Jaguars.
Well, this is like two ugly football teams, right? I actually think the Bills are going to upset them. I'm sorry, but Blake Bortles is just not doing it for me right now. They should be. Well, here I am a little controversial because that's a good defense in Jacksonville, and they let Tennessee beat. Like they should be beating Tennessee, and I don't know if Bortles is so hot and cold.
You don't know which one's going to show up.
Well, yeah, but Buffalo's they've won in the cold. They've gone down to Florida and won a big game in Miami when they needed to, and they actually put a lot of points up. I think momentum-wise, based on McCoy, and how his body's holding up, but I actually can see Buffalo winning that game. So,
who are you rooting to be their quarterback? I mean, are you a Peterman guy or are you a Tyrod
Taylor?
Yeah, that whole Peterman thing was sort of nonsense, I think, right?
Actually, Peterman from Seinfeld was the guy who actually played against the Chargers that day, 5 interceptions or whatever. So that's you just can't take favorites the whole way. I don't know. Is Buffalo? What are they? What's the spread in that game?
Well, it opened at 8.5. It's at 9 now.
See, I take that in a heartbeat.
For me, that's it's a big, gigantic spread, and the over/under is 39.5.
Wow.
I mean,
that's weird.
Yeah, that's
they're saying that Jacksonville's defense matches up great against Buffalo's offense. Obviously, is what that's saying. But
what is that? 24-14, right?
Yeah. That probably could happen, but
24.
But I don't know. I think Buffalo's moving in the right direction, and they just come off of a big win momentum wise, and Jacksonville didn't. They went down to Tennessee, or is it? Yeah, it was in Tennessee. Yeah, and they just played mediocre at best. I mean,
I don't like that Buffalo team at all. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
hit and miss.
I think Tyrod Taylor's a better quarterback. He's the right choice there, but. I don't know. I like Jacksonville.
I think both teams are playing like.
I'd probably take Buffalo in the points, but I straight up I'd take Jacksonville.
Yeah, I like Jacksonville. Isn't LaShawn McCoy hurt?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's kind of iffy right now.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville's defense will rise to the occasion.
Well, that's that's exactly how you should think, but they didn't in their last game.
Yeah,
they didn't. Well. I don't know. They maybe they did, but their offense didn't. That's what I should say, because I think they only held Tennessee to 14 or 17 points. Right? It was a low scoring game. It's Jacksonville's offense that's not clicking. So
yeah.
All right.
The other AFC wild card is Tennessee at Kansas City.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of that Kansas City team.
Well,
that they were. This might be. That jump over from the first part of the season, they're 8-point favorites against this Tennessee team. And for most of the middle part of the season, the Chiefs didn't look like they could beat anybody by 8.
Right.
Now, obviously, at the beginning of the year, it was a different story, but they were a bad team. I mean, they were a bad team.
Right. And there's two teams, Jacksonville and Tennessee, who I think shouldn't be in the playoffs. Like, they're not playing good football, So I think Kansas City, the way that the experience they have at the head coach position, how they've been playing and putting up points in the last 3 weeks, I think Kansas City can cover that. I don't think Tennessee's that good right now. They were early; they're not now.
Yeah, I don't think this will be a close game, but I think.
They hung around with the Rams.
At home.
That
was like 3 weeks ago, right? 3 or 4 weeks ago.
No.
The last 3 weeks, they have not played very good football. Oh, I mean, sorry, they played good enough to win against Jacksonville, but Jacksonville's offense was horrendous. So
I like KC.
I think that team's building up to becoming better and better. I mean, they're really balanced. I mean, they've got a good running attack, and I don't know if Mariota's the actual answer there, but they're strengthening their receiving core. So they have the kid there from Western Michigan, right? That's was really good.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're going in the right direction. That's for sure. But I don't know. I just see KC having too much experience, too much ammo. They run the ball. They throw the ball out of the backfield really well. They'll probably pick at them all night long. So, and that's a very big atmosphere there in Kansas City. I mean, those fans are nuts.
Yeah, it's going to be a home field advantage for sure.
Yeah.
So
for sure, these spreads.
They're big.
They're big.
Yeah.
For first round of playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's unusual. You look at those and you think playoffs, and you get your mind. You want to be picking upsets, and I think it's just chalk. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, straight up, I think it's just going to be chalk. It's about.
It's about
the spreads.
What you're throwing at me, which is the curveball, is they're big spreads with small over unders. That's the weird thing right there.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you for instance, in Kansas City, you've got -8, right? Kansas City -8, and that over under is 44.
Yeah, I'd like to see the weather situation supposed to be like. These guys could be playing in like sub-zero.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the other thing to look into.
I mean, yeah, that's
probably why these. I mean, because I don't know if you saw the New Era Pinstripe Bowl, right?
Yep.
With Boston College and Iowa,
right.
They were running on ice, like they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't make moves. They were running like pitter pattering around, and I mean that possibly could happen on some of these fields. I don't know if they have heaters underneath it or not, but. Because
these are football fields, and the Yankee Stadium doesn't
is a baseball
exactly.
field.
Is a baseball field, and
Do you want to do the divisional games now? Or you want to wait till next week?
Let's wait to see who these guys are playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for me, I'm not really. I don't know. I'd like to see how these shake out.
Yeah,
I agree.
Let's see who gets there first. Recap the college semifinal games. It was a great Rose Bowl game.
Terrific Rose Bowl. Two back-to-back great Rose Bowls.
Yeah.
Terrific Rose Bowl. I mean, it was everything you wanted. I mean, here I was not even a fan of any of the teams, and I was enjoying.
Right.
I mean, it was a tennis match of just.
Yeah, it was
great. And I'll be honest with you, I guarantee you that the public. I'm sorry, that the committee is not happy with the way that I think they wanted the Heisman Trophy winner to go against Alabama. I have a feeling that's what they wanted in Oklahoma, or maybe not an SEC final, right? So, but overall, it had everything in that game,
Yeah, there was a lot of momentum.
Fumbles for touchdowns, picks, and it was really good. It was fun to watch.
I
I'll go when you're putting up 100 points. I guess
I was pulling for Oklahoma. I'd like to see Oklahoma, and
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to strangle Baker Mayfield. I mean, the headband and the nonsense and God. So I'm glad he lost, frankly, and I was very happy to see him sad on the sideline, but I didn't want to see another SEC team. So it's one of those things where you just kind of rooting for a good game, but then you're just thinking, oh God, an SEC championship,
and they're going home.
Yeah,
exactly.
So let me ask you. So now that you look at it, right, and you look at kind of the way things are happening. So Georgia is going home for the national champ. So is Minnesota going to be in the Super Bowl?
That's right.
Because that's right. And that possibly could happen because Minnesota.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
But it's
absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. What's really interesting is you've got Alabama, who they said they were on the 5th team waiting to get in as the 4th team. They get in the 4th team, and they're the favorite. Right? They're now the 4th seed, who's the team that just slid in, right, is now playing this 2 seed, which I think Georgia was a 3 seed.
Yeah,
and again, they're favored. So, at one point you're looking at the committee going, "Told you so." We put the best 4 teams in the playoffs. Yeah, but that game against Clemson got really boring. I
didn't even watch it.
I watched
part of it.
Quarter and I got watched up to halftime, and I said, "This is a yawner." Right?
Yeah, it was no.
And look, here's the problem with the people who are clamoring for more playoff games. It's like, well, how many games do you expect these kids who are student athletes, who are students? How many more games do you expect them to play?
Yeah, you can.
And are we really going to extend it? Think about it this way. Okay. Everybody's clamoring Golden Knights, Central Florida. Come on. They're undefeated. They're going to fly a national title banner. They were undefeated. But did they really deserve to be in there? I don't know. Did the Trojans, who would have been in the playoffs if it was ranked, they were 8th, right? Mm-hmm. They could have been in the playoffs. They look terrible.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, this is fine.
Yeah,
this playoff is fine. And when you start going off, yes, you're going to flush out the baby with the bathwater sometimes. The Central Floridas.
But that was fun. That was fun, though. It was great. It was
absolutely.
Great. And they beat up Auburn, who beat Alabama. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but here's the thing. I love bowl games, right? You remember Boise State and Oklahoma, right? Back. That was a bowl game. And if they would have gotten their pants beat if there was a playoff and Boise State was going. So for me, Central Florida probably doesn't match up with any of the top 4 teams. Right. And it would have taken this great, magnificent, miraculous 12-0 season, and it would have ended them up 12-1, right? But now you got this beautiful bowl win, and they're gonna fly a national title banner, right? They said, hey, screw it, somebody's gonna vote us, right? The AP might vote them number 1 because they're undefeated. Who knows? Let's fly a banner. We're undefeated.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. What's the opening? Alabama's favorite that game?
4.5.
4.5.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll turn it on at the beginning, and we'll see how far we go.
Until you see Saban on the sideline, then they'll turn it off.
Yeah, I'm not a great Nick Saban fan. Speaking of the bowl games and the collegiate, what about the pathetic Pac-12?
Yeah.
And it just gets worse with the Rich Rod firing.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It just, again, all of a sudden, so this weird Herm Edwards hire, and then this 1-8 dreadful, awful, embarrassing display in the bowl games. Nobody wanting to show up. Josh Rosen, who they may have strung everybody along, but he was never going to play in that game. He was never going to play in that game. And I bought that hook, line, and sinker. He was never going to play in that game.
Washington State quarterback.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then 2 or 3 receivers got nailed, and they got kicked off the team.
Yeah.
And then a USC team that just turned the ball over, and their offensive line, you look at it and you just go, wow, I didn't realize until tonight that offensive line was not capable of winning in a big, gigantic game. Maybe in the Pac-12, which was crappy, as we found out. Yeah. But, to win a Pac-12 championship, but not to win a bowl game against some big
and outscored
beasts.
317 to 230.
Yeah. If I'm Darnold, I go to the pros just to get away from that offensive line.
And there's a rumor flying around he's staying.
Was there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't think there's any way. But I
heard it this morning that there's rumors flying around Los Angeles that he's thinking about staying.
I think he thought about it because there's some unfinished business, and you don't want to go out like that. But,
exactly.
And you got to look at those statistics, and they outgained and more yardage than Ohio State. That defense shut out Ohio State in the second half.
Yeah.
There are things you can take away from it.
Right.
But then you go a little higher, and you look at it and you go 1-8. This really weird Herm Edwards hire, a bizarre hire, and then Rich Rodriguez getting fired for being pretty much a a horse's ass.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he's always been. I mean, when they hired him, they knew he was a horse's ass.
He brought that with him.
Yeah, and they said it's not an easy atmosphere to work at in Arizona with him, because he can fly off the handle at any time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and there are going to be people who equivocate and say, "Oh, it's because of this atmosphere of everybody. There's a sexual harassment allegation that it heightens everything, and organizations and universities and institutions are going to just err on the side of caution." No, let's not equivocate this. No, this is a bad guy. This guy has always been a bad guy.
Yeah.
He was bad at Michigan. He was bad at West Virginia. He's just a bad dude. He's just a bad dude.
And he's got a potential, Heisman Trophy, guy
exactly
as his quarterback next year.
Yeah. Do you think he'll get another job?
No, he will. When the stink comes off of him and they get the tomato juice bath on him, a couple of years from now.
Central Florida's looking for a guy, I think. That's what they're all going to have to do. They're all going to have to go back to these little guys in the American Conference or whatever and work their way back up.
So not the Pac-12 is not looking great, and I think that's time for a change in the leadership there. I think everybody is clamoring for that, and this the kind of the cable. They sold their soul to cable, which is really not.
Yeah, you can't even get the games on.
It's awful, and playing these
looks like a Dodger game
on Fridays. It's just terrible. So I think there's going to be some leadership change at the Pac-12, and I think they need to change something. And this is a wake up call.
Well, they're the only conference too.
Chip Kelly's like in that 1-8. He was like, I'm coming into this, and I got a team that gives up 350, but the rest of the teams lose.
Yeah.
This is great.
Oh, I mean, it makes it look even. And when he's sitting in somebody's living room, he says, "Look at this.
Yeah.
We're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're okay.
We're right there.
Yeah, we're right there." and he may be selling that, but I'm not buying that. No, I'm not buying that. People, UCLA fans, I said it last week, UCLA fans are going to just be thinking he's on automatic 9-win guy. It's just not that way. That talent is not 9 wins. Yeah. There's not 9 wins. Without Josh Rosen as your quarterback, there is not 9 wins of talent. Now, if he decides to come back, which he won't, but if he did, then we could talk about it. Then we could talk about it. But that's not. That's a 7-6 team. Again. Yeah, even with Chip Kelly.
Take him a while to get his guys in there and get his system in place, and it's going to be 2 or 3 years, before we see any results of the Chip Kelly hire.
Yeah, and he's not going to sneak up on anybody. No. People know what people have been able to recreate Chip Kelly type of results. Mm-hmm. So it's not. Do you remember the day when Nick Saban was like, "Oh, we've got to slow down putting the ball in play. All that sped up," and then all of a sudden he hired. Kiffin and started to speed it up. Yeah. But the year before, when he couldn't do it, he was all, "Oh, poor us, this they're speeding it up. It's really bad for kids and injuries and this and that." And it's like, shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up. And so if Nick Saban looked around after he said, "Did anybody buy that?" and then hires Kiffin and then he speeds things up, and that's the way it goes. I mean, if Nick Saban is doing it, it's not a secret anymore.
And Sarkisian came in to speed it up too. Keep it going.
Yeah.
So,
are they ever going to win a national championship? Pac-12 is the only Power 5 that has never won that.
Right now, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah. Well, how do you get there from here?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't connect those dots right now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I'll tell you right now, even if Sam Darnold does come back, I'd be surprised if there's a Pac-12 team in the top 7 or 8.
Yeah. But I think here's the thing. I can't connect the dots. But if you forced me to, it'd be if Sam Darnold comes back, if Ronald Jones Jr. comes back, if though that offensive line is 1 year, 2 years better after they come back and they're just better. Maybe. If. But I can't look around and see anybody else.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God. Yeah, I think Stanford has just as much chance coming back,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Before we get off the Pac-12, any ideas on or who might take that Arizona job?
No, I haven't heard a word.
It's so new.
They're going to need to get somebody squeaky clean.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get but they're also going to have to get somebody that can use that kid in that offense, And I don't know, it might just be the offensive coordinator slides in for a year or so.
No, I think the corruption there and the secrecy, everybody, the stink is on every one of them. It's on every one of them. In my opinion, I don't think they elevate a guy unless there was somebody who was sort of blowing the whistle and saying, look, I didn't want to be part of this, and and has been warning the administration that something like this was happening. It's a mess, but I don't think you can. I mean, I think you've got to wipe that slate clean.
Yeah,
I mean, that Rich Rod stink is all over that program, and you got to just purge it.
Let's move into the hockey. Vegas Knights are still hanging around.
Ain't going away.
No.
They are not going away.
They're right there.
They're 17-2-1 at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
But it's
that's not just luck.
It's 4 lines that are going. I mean, it's
they're deep.
Yeah,
they're deep.
They're deep in goalie. I mean, it's just everything. I mean, and these kids have all gelled together, and the coach, is they're all believing in, and he's just letting them go and skate. And
they're doing.
I mean, they don't get down if they're down a couple goals. I mean,
the pressure and the aggressiveness on as deep as their fourth line, they put pressure on you.
Yeah.
I mean, they forecheck and put pressure, and you're not getting a break. You don't get a break with that fourth line, and they're very good. I mean, they're very good, and the Kings were lucky to get a point out of their last matchup against Vegas. And Vegas has won 8 in a row now. They won 8, 8 in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, they came down. Ducks go up on them 1-0, and then they just shut it down and beat them 4-1. Not saying a whole heck of a lot because it's the Ducks, but then no rest, come back and beat the Kings in overtime. The next day. Yeah. I mean, it's solid. They're like we said last week. It's like these guys were looking at this time to start dumping guys to increase their the lower part of their program.
Right.
And now they're like, who do we go get?
Yeah.
They're I don't know if they have a lot to give,
buyers,
right?
not sellers.
They're buyers, but I mean, I don't know if they don't have a lot to offer.
Yeah. And early in the season with the injuries in the pipes, they could have just given back a lot of points and started from a deficit, and they didn't. I mean, using 5 goalies in the first 17 games. I mean, that's astonishing to me, and they were still winning. I mean, they were still finding ways. They had a 19-year-old kid in the pipes who was winning.
Yeah, that's right.
Early, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And now they got Fleury back.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I wonder what the odds were on them at the start of the season.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of Vegas fans, I guarantee, that bet them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, right?
We just had friends that actually, we saw this last weekend that are in from Vegas. And I played golf with a guy actually from Vegas on New Year's Day, and he says they've engulfed it there. That's fan base is totally into it.
That's great.
Obviously, winning does that, right?
Sure.
He says, but it is the ticket in town to go to. Yeah. He says they all love it, and it's like I think we talked about it. That's great for maybe a Seattle down the road to get a team or somebody like that.
Yeah, look forward to what kind of a team you can get in an expansion draft.
Yeah. Again, but I think that the only problem there is that the further you expand, right, then the thinner the talent. The thinner the talent gets. Yeah. I think this was just sort of a perfect storm, right?
Yeah.
It was just happened to be a perfect storm. There was a lot of talent. I mean, the Kings are doing great, but they can't help but look across and think, McNabb would have been helpful to have,
right?
If they had been able to keep McNabb, how much better would the Kings have been? Yeah. Because he's been terrific. They're a young defender like that, and we talked a lot about that earlier. Who the Ducks might have to lose, who the Kings were going to protect, and who they were going to trade or to get to protect guys, and and their coach has been great, right? Savard,
yeah.
It's been terrific, and sometimes when you look at expansion teams, in the old days, like I remember the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You've got an old college coach, John McKay, who comes in. You just didn't know what kind of identity that team was going to have, and they were terrible, right? They were just dreadful.
In the NFL, they call it the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that's right. It's the Cleveland Browns, right? And so you just didn't know what you were going to get, and this team seemed to have an identity from the get-go, right? They had a personality. They had an identity. This master plan was put into place, and they never felt like they were an expansion team. They didn't behave. They didn't
that's
behave
exactly
like they were an
great
expansion
point.
team.
They did not behave that way. That's not what we saw on the ice in the first 10 games. And I guarantee you that comes from coaching.
Right.
That's them saying, believe in yourself. You guys are just as good as these guys.
Right.
We just got to come together and play as a team. And, and that's what's happening now. They're finding out that these younger 19, 20-year-olds, they can hang. They can hang up there. Look at the McDavids and these guys.
Speed kills.
Speed kills, right, exactly. But these kids now, I mean, you look at it in golf, right? You look at it in tennis. There's no fear in these kids anymore. They just go up and they could be playing with their idol, and they just, if they get good guidance and stuff and good coaching, they can hang with the guy that's got 6 years experience on them,
For sure.
It's been a good blend. It's been a good blend. A lot of depth there. This was a team, where they just looked at the expansion draft and who might be eligible, and they already looked at it and said, "We're going to be good." Yeah. Even before they drafted anybody, they said, "We're going to be good. Yeah. We're going to be competitive." Maybe they didn't expect this, but they expected to be competitive with the talent that they knew that they were going to be able to draw from. And they made some good choices, and they built a really good team.
Yeah.
A really good team. They're fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately for Kings and Ducks fans.
The Ducks are starting to...
Josh Rosen declares for the draft.
Is that what you just heard? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shocking. Well, shock.
Like to wish...
Enjoy Cleveland.
Yeah. Like to wish Chip Kelly all the luck in the world.
Yeah.
Who's his quarterback? That Munster?
Monster, but they have a true freshman coming in from
Bishop Gorman.
That's really good. So
he's going to be good, but it's going to take a while. That might be his guy eventually.
Right.
Look, Chip Kelly. Look, we're going to know a lot about Chip Kelly if he decides to redshirt that kid. If he decides to redshirt that kid, I think that's one of those things that says, okay, UCLA fans, this guy might be hunkering down for the long haul, right? He's thinking about it. If he decides not to redshirt that kid and thinks, I don't like this monster, this guy's more my guy, let's put him in, then
right.
This is a 4-year plan.
Right.
And then he's going to move on. He's going to move on, or you better get that big bowl win, that Rose Bowl win, or national title early.
Yeah,
because he's not going to be building a program. No. He wants to do it quick and win quick, and we'll see.
Yeah, checking with the. Started talking about the Ducks. They've scored in the first period. Their 6 straight games. They've won 5 of the 6. Raquel is scored in 6 straight games.
Yeah.
Getzlaff has been a beast since he came back from the fractured cheek. He's got
Perry skating back again.
Yeah, 16 points in 11 games. Perry's on the ice.
I went to the game though against the Coyotes on Sunday.
Yeah.
They're slow.
What's that?
I think they're a little too slow.
Too slow?
Yeah, I just don't see. I don't see the young, fresh, legs and stuff. I think they're going to be okay because I think their goalie play is good. I think they have some pretty good defenders. But Getzlaff will do whatever he can, right, along with Raquel, staying hot. But it looks like a team that's going to get in the playoffs and go one round and they're done. I just don't see the explosiveness in
and you need it,
and you need it,
you gotta have it.
And that's me, and that's against the Coyotes. You know what I mean? That
was not your premier team.
They kept in the game with the 2 shorthanded goals, and it's 2-2, and then obviously in the third period they broke it open and then some shorthanded. Some open netters, but it was. I don't know. It didn't impress me that much. So, I mean, impressed me enough to get into the playoffs, but they would go up against the Knights or somebody like the Kings, and I don't see it lasting long. So.
All right.
Yeah, and then and the Kings just keep grinding along, and they've changed a little bit the pace of their game. They've got some guys healthy, Kopitar, Toffoli, and Pearson, having better years. Gabrick's back healthy. Yeah. That helps them quite a bit, and Jonathan Quick, I mean, missing him last year, you could discuss what all the problems were with the Kings last year, but it all starts with Jonathan Quick, who missed almost every game, all but 5 games last year. So that he's back. Things are better. Kempe's up and down. It's totally expected from a rookie. They've had some good success. That they were doing great on special teams, shutting things down. And then last night they scored 3 power play goals. They looked great. They looked great against an Edmonton team that has not looked very good.
Yeah, no. And they were good last year.
Yeah,
so.
They were.
Yeah,
they were.
I'll tell you what was cool to watch at the game. They put Patrick Eaves up on the scoreboard.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention that.
And they gave him a standing ovation.
Yeah, that's great.
And that was good. And I didn't know how severe this disease was, but it sounds like he's battling it. It's a curable disease, but it attacks your nerves. It's called Guillain-Barré syndrome, and but it sounds like it's I shouldn't say it's a very curable, but it's a curable disease. I don't know if you're going to see him this year, to be honest with you. But that was the first time I think he showed his face.
That's the first time he's been
so.
His career could be in jeopardy.
No doubt about it. No, I mean, I'll tell you right now, and this, I read this by the Ducks owner. He says, first of all, let's make sure his life's fine. Let's make sure that he's healthy for the rest of life. He doesn't have to play another hockey game, although it's a nice, healthy contract that he's got with us. But it was great to hear that from the owner saying, "Look, this is more about just hockey. This is about this kid,
get well,
getting to spend time and in life and not having to deal with this disease." But I don't know, once it's curable, it goes away. Does it come back? I don't know what. I didn't read too much into it, but I'd be surprised if you see him.
Yeah, well, even if he could come back, I mean, he's not going to be in any kind of condition or shape to play this year. I don't think.
That's what I noticed with Kessler. Kessler. I mean, he's always been a big guy. He's always sat in front of the net, but it looks like he's a good step slower than he was last year. And I know that he's just back playing again.
Yeah, it's going to probably take a while.
You can tell that he's not in very good shape. Well, I shouldn't say that, but he's not like he was last year.
Game shape.
He's not in playoff shape, is what I'm trying to say. So,
let's talk a little bit about the Lakers. They take the Warriors to overtime twice. They take Houston to double overtime, but they just can't seal the deal.
When I'm watching the Lakers, it's not like the old days. You just sort of knew that, Kobe was going to be the guy who was going to take charge in overtime or down the stretch. I don't know who they're going to rely on, and I don't know who I want to have the ball. And sometimes when I'm in my head, I'm thinking, oh, let's get the ball to Pope, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and then I start thinking, well, is that really the right guy to have?
Yeah, exactly.
And is Kuzma, he's sort of young. Is he the right guy? I mean, Randall, Ingram, you got a lot of good parts, but not anything that's great you can rely on to sort of seal the deal.
It almost looks like down the stretch, they don't even know who's going to have the ball.
No.
At the end, I mean.
No, or who's going to play.
Exactly.
And there are times when you'll see, Larry Nance playing well, and then I think, why is he on this team? Does he really have a future with his team? Why does everybody love this guy? There's some things he does well, and then I look at Ingram and I think, boy, this guy's not going to be another Kevin Durant. Maybe he's the guy, and it's like, why are we wanting to get rid of Julius Randle? He's got a manageable contract, and he's playing pretty well, and you just gave him more minutes, and I don't know. I just don't. I don't get it yet. I don't get it yet. I don't get this team yet. Don't understand it.
Yeah,
Don't understand what Luke Walton is trying to do.
Just when you think you have it figured out, it goes upside down.
When I watch it, I just I get mind boggled. Like, is this the style of offense you want? It's a pounding, it's a hard offense. I mean, they run hard constantly, and now you're starting to see some of the chips fall. Guys are getting hurt and bodies are breaking down, and you don't have that kind of depth that just fits right in. And I just don't know if this run and gun type of offense is. And again, it's just like Vince said. He's like, is this the guy? Is that the guy? Is this the offense? Is it? I don't know yet. But going 3-11 in December was not good, right? And I don't know. Is Walton the guy? That's what I just don't know. And but Kuzma has been the steal of the draft, right?
Exactly.
No doubt about it.
Terrific.
And I think you have pieces there, but it's almost like they're lacking that veteran guy to come out and say, just calm down, guys. Just calm down.
Right.
Let's do this. Let's do that.
And who is that? I mean, is it?
No, I don't.
Does nobody that says
Does Brooke Lopez have that kind of authority?
I don't think he's there. That's the problem. I don't think.
the guy's not
I think
there.
he's coming. Like, is it next year or the next 2 years? That person or persons are coming. They say LeBron. They say Paul George. Right. I think you need two veterans that are going to be every. They're going to play a lot of minutes to calm these kids down but I mean, what I do see is like they cut back door very good. They see open space. They have no problem pulling from 30 or 35 or wherever. But again, it reminds me sometimes of going down to the local
Playground.
playground and watch a bunch of guys go back and forth.
Laguna Beach.
It's sort of a strange thing because even a team who's done sort of the running and gunning thing the best, like Golden State, they can be beat if they get pounded down into a half court game, like Cleveland was able to do. This team, I look at it and think, boy, when we get in a half court, it just feels like, they're just, they're going to turn the ball over. It's going to, I feel better when they're running the ball. I mean, right? I sort of like it and I enjoy it, but it doesn't guarantee a lot of wins. That team still needs to know what it's going to do if they get slowed down and are forced to play a half court offense. And they play
very good teams, very tough. I mean, overtime, double overtime, triple overtime. I mean, they're playing very good teams, tough. But when one of these stars goes down, they feel it. They feel it a lot. They'll lose to Memphis by 15 and Minnesota by 12 or whatever. And it's, Kuzma goes down. They miss that.
Yeah, he's been
Ball
the
goes down. They miss him. Anybody goes down, they miss him. If they're all healthy, they contend. They don't finish, but they contend.
Right.
And that's where I'm wondering, is it that veteran guy that comes in that can just kind of calm down?
I'm not sure who the glue is.
Yeah,
I mean, and anybody who thinks that Lonzo Ball is the glue, he's not yet.
No.
I mean, he's not yet because he's shot better from behind the arc. He's starting to shoot a little bit better. But the problem still remains is that in a pinch, you don't have to defend him. And he's not going to knock it down at such a consistent rate that's going to cause teams problems.
And you brought a good point a couple weeks ago. These kids they've just finished what they played all last year in college. And it's not even the All-Star break. And they still got way more seasons to go.
Exactly.
I mean, way more games to go.
Yeah.
So this is all new, fresh for them. They're usually, right now, they're done.
Yeah,
right?
They're finished.
So that's another thing is are these bodies going to hold up running that, that offense like they're running? If like I said, a guy goes down, they really feel it when a guy goes down, one of their 3 or 4 stars.
Well, see, that to me, that's just it. I don't see a star yet. I see guys who could be there. I mean, Kuzma certainly could be a star. I shouldn't say
starters.
Starters.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That I agree with
Yeah.
because I don't know that. Now, Alonzo Ball's not quite a star. You know, he's just not. He's not a star yet. I mean, he's got that brightness and that potential and that possibility, but he's not there yet. And I don't think Julius Randle's a star. And I don't think Brandon Ingram is a star, but these guys are, and sometimes not even starters. I mean, sometimes Randle isn't even starting games. Mm-hmm. And I just get frustrated because it's like I see people on blogs saying, "Oh, you know, we need to get Josh Hart more time." I'm thinking, "Oh my God, Josh Hart? Well, over Alex Caruso, I agree with that. I don't want to see Caruso bringing the ball up. I mean, my God, he should be in the D leagues. He's a perennial D leaguer." But is Josh Hart really the answer? Oh my God! And is that where we are now? where we're like, let's get Josh Hart more minutes. Ugh. Right.
Yeah, that's right. There has been speculation about the Lakers shopping Randle and Clarkson. I don't know.
I mean, what are they going to get for him?
Yeah, exactly. I don't.
Unless it's draft picks,
a pick. I mean, a pick and somebody
what
else
is that?
with an
Second and third
contract.
round? I mean, what is that? What are you going to get for those guys?
You might get a low first.
Oh.
It just depends on what's
who's
coming back, right?
Yeah.
You know, if somebody wants to take that Clarkson contract on and thinks Randle will fit, because Randle's affordable. Mm-hmm. You know, Randle's affordable right now. Clarkson not so much. I guess the Lakers at some point have looked around and they can't move Deng. Right. So now they've got to attach a guy like Randle, who's affordable, with a big contract like Clarkson, which the contract maybe is bigger than his potential, at least for the Lakers and where he fits in their scheme. I don't know. It's confusing to me because I like Randle, but there are moments when I think, does he fit?
Really?
I don't know.
No.
Bruins and Trojans opened the Pac-12 this last weekend. Bruins 2-0 and Trojans 1-1. Your guy Shimizu Metu did a nice elbow to the groin and
cup check.
Yeah, and it's funny because Benny Boatwright had to sit out also for a flagrant before that. So you know the Lakers are.
You mean the Trojans?
Excuse me, the Trojans are. The Trojans are better on paper than they've played in the last. Six
I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, this kid he's Metu. He's 21st on the list in the draft. I mean, does that kind of action, does that hurt his draft pick?
No. He's young. They'll deal with that. I don't think that it won't affect him.
So
him losing playing time.
He lost his captaincy, and then does he have to sit out a game, or is that what happened?
Half a game. He'll miss the first half against Cal on Thursday.
Yeah.
So.
Well, UCLA. I mean, I started watching a little bit of that Washington game. I go, this is going to get ugly. They were down.
Yeah, they were down quite a bit.
They were down 10 or 12 at one point, and then give it to the Bruins. I think they only allowed 17 points in the second half to Washington. Mm-hmm. So the defense kicked in there, and then they started playing really good. But
we loosened the cap for them.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It felt like they played. Washington played really good against the Trojans, and maybe just didn't have enough in the tank against UCLA.
Any hot stove league rumors out there?
I haven't
heard anything really. Yeah.
I've heard the Angels are trying to move C.J. Cron, but good luck on finding a taker for him.
No kidding. Yeah.
It's been not a lot of free agents getting signed.
I
think that should be frustrating for some teams. I mean, the only team I think that's been doing anything is Angels.
Yeah.
The Padres now say they might be interested in Adrian Gonzalez if they can't
sign Hosmer
for a cup of coffee. I mean, why not? I mean, he lives there.
Yeah.
I mean,
but the problem,
and they love him there.
Yeah, but the problem there is you're gonna bring in an aging veteran who we don't know if he's going to be healthy, and move Will Myers to the outfield. I mean, is that what you're going to do?
Well, he's losing steps. Myers is. I don't know. That's what I don't understand.
I mean, that's what they're planning to do.
The Padres are not. Are they becoming like the old Cleveland Indians? Of just like, we'll just take the money and
why? And why would Hosmer want to go sign a 7-year contract?
Yeah,
I mean, I can't
see them.
I can't see them having a winning season in the next 7 years. I mean,
if the Padres are going to sign anybody to a 7-year deal, I don't think Hosmer's the guy. I mean,
It should be an ace, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Get an ace.
Yeah.
A first baseman. Mm-hmm. A first baseman that they've already spent tons of money on Will Myers.
Exactly.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Face of the franchise.
And why? Oh God, I don't get that. And then you're going to ask him to go.
And again,
to the
it goes
outfield?
back to what
No.
we've talked about in the past. Like, the Dodgers have a good farm system, and the Yankees have a good farm system, and Chicago has a good farm. With all the stuff that the Padres have done and let all their guys go, we've never talked about how's their farm system. I think it's mediocre at best. They should have a strong farm system. If they're letting all these guys go, they must be just all free agents that they just let go because they're not getting anything in
They're not
return.
getting any young kids back.
No. So, I could understand what we're talking about with the Padres if they're building their farm system to, for the
Right,
future.
yeah.
But
Doesn't
there's
seem-
no talk about them building their farm system. It's just like if I'm in a single A, double A, or triple A, the Padres system is who I want to be in right now because that's my fastest way to the majors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So. Exactly. Yeah, I haven't seen much movement in the free agent.
Rest in peace, Dick Enberg. Talking about the
yeah.
Padres.
Oh,
Yeah.
He was a
Angels
great. I covered the Angels when he was.
Oh, was he?
He,
Okay.
Drysdale, and Niehaus were the broadcast team. He's a real class act.
Yeah.
Totally. What a great voice.
I'm
What a
gonna
great guy.
Try to do something for the website on that.
Oh,
And,
nice. Good. Yeah.
So the night that he died, the young broadcaster for the Kings, Alex Faust, he's really young, but he's obviously a student of the game, and they had a nice little tribute after regulation to Enberg, and then on the overtime winner, he made the "Oh my!"
Oh, my.
Nice.
It was beautiful. Gave me chills. I loved it.
Yeah.
And
He was a great guy.
And Enberg was just a terrific voice, and did anything they called on him to do. Very reminiscent of Vin Scully back in the day. I mean, a lot of people don't remember that Scully was calling football and golf, and and doing a lot of that.
Enberg was doing the
and
same
Enberg
thing.
was doing the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
And Scully had nothing but the highest praise for
Yeah,
Enberg.
he did.
Called him his favorite announcer, essentially.
he did.
That the best of the best.
Yeah, he. When we were in New York in the '70s, when Enberg was on the broadcast team, and my wife Josie was pregnant with our first boy, he told her, he says, "I want to take you this one afternoon for an ice cream."
Oh.
And he took her for an ice cream, just the two of them. And that's just the personal side of what great a guy this was. I mean, he was a great announcer.
Yeah.
But and humble, and I mean, he'd remember your name from 10 years ago. You could have been writing for the, Palm Springs Desert Sun or whatever it is out there.
Yeah.
If you show up at a ball game, he's going to walk up to you and say, "Hi, whatever your name is. How you been?" He was a class act, real class act.
It's a shame, and he was for a team, he was the Padres' biggest fan. I mean, even,
exactly.
To listen to him on some of those broadcasts for the Padres, amazing that he never lost hope. He was always, even with the team that
enthusiastic,
always enthusiastic,
Very positive.
I think they're having a memorial service at Petco.
Yeah.
Are they?
For the public. I didn't catch the date. Might be the 10th.
And it just shows you something about his loyalty and his professionalism, that he loved a team like that is not very lovable. You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he spent some pretty bad years with the Angels, too.
And you
That's
spent
true.
some really bad years with the Padres.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see you guys next week. And as far as today goes, we are out.
Happy New Year.
Peace.